Good evening. Thank you for tuning in to today's edition of 6 Stories at 6. I'm Samisha Srivastava, a power-packed lineup in today's edition on 6 Stories at 6. Our top story is from the state of Karnataka. It's rebellion, revolt and resignation that is now synonymous with Karnataka Congress. In fact, it's now the political advisor of Siddaramaiah who has resigned and openly cited dissent in the Congress party in Karnataka. In fact, in the national capital, the political atmosphere is only heating up, with Aam Aadmi Party now eyeing the third consecutive term. The BJP is betting big on the middle class Indians in the national capital. We'll also get you the story of a Kashmiri youth who's been languishing in a Saudi jail for past 4 years over what the family claims false charges slapped against their son. Also in this edition of our broadcast, it's Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath who's launched an all-out attack on Akhilesh for denigrating the Hindus. He says that it was Akhilesh Yadav who objected to Mahakumbh in the first place. And while Centre continues with the crackdown on Red Terror, these are Maoists who have gunned down a civilian in Maharashtra's Gadchiroli district. Lastly, the big international story that we're tracking is Trump waging the tariff war. The question is that where is this tariff war headed in days, years and months from now? Power tussle, the rebellion, which is now synonymous with the Karnataka Congress, especially after the unexpected resignation of Chief Minister Siddaramaiah's political advisor. It's B.R. Patil who's resigned as his political advisor. And this just months after he had even threatened his resignation to the Karnataka Congress. We get you this report and then more details.
A fresh storm brews within Karnataka Congress as Chief Minister Siddaramaiah's political advisor and Aland MLA B.R. Patil drops a political bombshell, resigning from his post. His exit fuels intense speculation of deepening cracks and growing rebellion within the party. Patil, who was given a cabinet rank position as the Chief Minister's political advisor in 2023 after missing out on a ministerial berth, stepped down without citing specific reasons. His resignation, however, comes amid long-standing grievances. Patil had earlier written a letter in 2023 expressing discontent over the functioning of ministers and had even threatened to resign, alleging that Minister Krishna Bairegowda had insulted him over fund utilization issues.
बहुत दिन से मैं सोच रहा था कि मैं इस्तीफा दे दूं, लेकिन राज्यपाल जी का जो अनुमोदन नहीं मिला था ऑफिस ऑफ प्रॉफिट का बिल के बारे में, उसलिए मैं इतना दिन रोका. वो क्लियर हो गया, राज्यपाल जी ने उसको मान्यता दी है, उसके बाद तो क्लियर हुआ. तो मैं पहले डिसाइड किया था, राजीनामा दे दिया. नहीं, समस्या है, बगैर समस्या हम ऐसा इस्तीफा देने का मतलब ही नहीं है. जो भी है सीएम से बात करता हूँ, मैं ओपनली बात नहीं करता. अनुदान भी है और भी है समस्या. ना सारा कुछ प्रॉब्लम है.
While Patil maintains that his resignation is not a sign of rebellion, his comments about fund shortages and developmental roadblocks indicate deeper fissures within the ruling party. Chief Minister Siddaramaiah, however, has downplayed the development.
ರಾಜೀನಾಮೆ ಪತ್ರ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದೀನಿ ಲಕೋಟಿನಲ್ಲಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ನಾನು ಓದಿಲ್ಲ, ಲಕೋಟಿನಲ್ಲಿ ಇದೆ. ನನಗೆ ಬೆಂಗಳೂರು ಬರುವಾಗ ಬಂತು, ಅದು ನಾನು ಓದಕ್ಕೆ ಹೋಗಿಲ್ಲ. ಪೂರ್ಣ ಕನ್ನಡ ಮಾತಾಡ್ತೀನಲ್ಲ ಏನ.
Meanwhile, the BJP has seized the opportunity to target the Congress government, blaming its financial mismanagement for the crisis.
B.R. Patil ಅವರು ಎರಡನೇ ಬಾರಿ ಇದು. ಅವ್ರು ಈಗಾಗಲೇ ಮಹಾರಾಷ್ಟ್ರದಲ್ಲೇನೋ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ಈಗ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಅನುದಾನ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿಲ್ಲ. ಅವರೊಬ್ಬರದೇ ಅಂತಲ್ಲ, ಕಾಂಗ್ರೆಸ್ ಅವರು ಎಲ್ಲರದು ಅಳುವು. ದಾವಣಗೆರೆಯಲ್ಲೂ ಅದೇ, ದಾವಣಗೆರೆ MLAನೂ ಹೇಳಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಅನುದಾನ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ. ಗುಲ್ಬರ್ಗಾದಲ್ಲಿ ಹೇಳಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಇವರು ನಮ್ಮ ಅಡ್ವೈಸರ್ ರಾಯರೆಡ್ಡಿ ಅವರು ಕೂಡ ಅನುದಾನ ಸಿಕ್ಕಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ದಾರೆ. B.R. ಪಾಟೀಲ್ ಅನುದಾನ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿಲ್ಲ. ಮತ್ತೆ ರೂಲಿಂಗ್ ಪಾರ್ಟಿಯ ಸದಸ್ಯರಾಗಿ ಯಾವ ಅಧಿಕಾರಿನೂ ನಮ್ಮ ಮಾತು ಕೇಳ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ. ಅಧಿಕಾರಿಗಳು ಒಬ್ಬರು ನಮಗೆ ಅಭಿವೃದ್ಧಿ ವಿಚಾರದಲ್ಲಿ ಸ್ಪಂದನೆ ಮಾಡಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ. ನಾನು BR ಪಾಟೀಲ್ ಅವ್ರಿಗೂ ಹೇಳಕ್ ಇಷ್ಟಪಡ್ತೀನಿ, ದಯವಿಟ್ಟು ಯಾಕೆ ಸಿದ್ದರಾಮಯ್ಯನವ್ರ ಮೇಲೆ ಮುಗಿದು ಬೀಳ್ತೀರಾ? ಅವ್ರ ಮಾತು ಸಿಎಂ ಮಾತೆ ಯಾರು ಅಧಿಕಾರಿಗಳು ಕೇಳಲ್ಲ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಮಾತು ಯಾರು ಕೇಳ್ತಾರೆ? ಒಂಥರ ಇದು ಅದೇನೋ ಬೀಡಾಡಿ ದನದ ಅಂತಾರೆ ನಮ್ಮಲ್ಲಿ.
With multiple Congress leaders expressing concerns over fund shortages and governance inefficiencies, Patil's resignation has only intensified the debate over internal discord in the party. Whether Siddaramaiah can contain the crisis or if this will snowball into a larger political challenge remains to be seen.
And let's go across to Dr. Sudha Halkai, Karnataka BJP leader, joining us on the broadcast. Dr. Sudha, appreciate you for your time. To begin with, it's the political advisor, who's now resigned, of Chief Minister Siddaramaiah. The question to you is, why do you think the Karnataka Congress is failing to keep the flock together?
Very good evening. There's a lot of internal fight going on in the Congress party, and that is a paramount. And there's a lot of unrest towards the Siddaramaiah government from all the MLAs in Karnataka. And this is more because as one of the MLAs of Vijayanagara, that is HR Gaviyappa, he had asked to withdraw 2 of the guarantees, because the guarantees what they've given to the people of Karnataka is very much unplanned, and because of this there is no development being given to any of the constituencies. And we have seen that one more MLA from Chinnagiri, that is Baswaraj Shivganga, he had also written a request letter that the district in charge minister from Davangere, that is SS Mallikarjun, has to be replaced. So it is not only Mr. BR Patil, who is one of the senior leaders in Karnataka and who is known to be a very close aide of Siddaramaiah. He giving a resignation letter as an advisor shows his displeasure towards the Siddaramaiah government. And all the MLAs, take it BJP or the Congress MLAs, all are going through this frustration because no funds are being allocated to the development in any part of Karnataka. And especially the MLAs of Congress, they're going through this heat waves from the people of Karnataka because as their party is there in power, so they expect the work to be done. No development work is done over here in Karnataka. It is only the loot and appeasement politics which is going on in Karnataka today.
Yes. Dr. Sudha, just a related question to that. It's LOP R. Ashoka in Karnataka who says that the Karnataka BJP is sure that Chief Minister Siddaramaiah will tender his resignation by the month of November. There will be a change of guard and it will be DK Shivakumar who will be taking over the reins. How is the Karnataka BJP so sure that there will be a change in guard in Karnataka?
This is because there's so much of infighting going on within the Congress party with zero development. I don't think the government will proceed with Mr. Siddaramaiah being carried away as the chief minister in there. And Mr. DK Shivakumar, he has told earlier also that there was a deal with the high commands that half of the tenure Siddaramaiah is going to be the chief minister and the next half he is going to be the chief minister. This is what openly DK Shivakumar, the deputy chief minister, he has told this openly. So, and the infighting, what is going on within the party and the frustration, everything shows to that, future there's going to be change in the CM.
Yes. Dr. Sudha, appreciate you for your time. Thank you for joining us. So yes, it is a double whammy for the Karnataka Congress, as it's not by fighting just the financial crisis, but also struggling to keep its flock together. We shift our focus now to the national capital. It's Prime Minister Modi who's exhorted in his speech how the budget caters to the middle class. He struck the right chord as he exhorted the people to vote for change in the national capital on 5th of February in the Delhi elections. Addressing his final public meeting in the capital going into single-phase polls, Prime Minister Modi also took a dig at the Aam Aadmi Party over the massive exodus of former MLAs. We bring you this report for all the latest in the national capital.
दिल्ली जैसे हमारे शहरों में जो गरीब परिवार रहते हैं, उनके लिए ये बजट बहुत बड़ी ताकत लेकर आया है। मिडिल क्लास की एस्पिरेशंस को समझने वाली सरकार, उनके सपनों को समझने वाली सरकार, ऐसे ही फैसले लेती है। आजकल हम देख रहे हैं कैसे दिल्ली में वोटिंग से पहले ही झाड़ू के तिनके बिखर रहे हैं। आपदा के लीडर्स उसे छोड़कर जा रहे हैं। ये जान चुके हैं कि ग्राउंड पर जनता आपदा से कितना नाराज है, कितनी नफरत करती है। 5 फरवरी को दिल्ली में विकास का नया बसंत आने वाला है। इस बार दिल्ली में भाजपा सरकार बनने जा रही है। इस बार पूरी दिल्ली कह रही है, अब की बार मुझे कल से ही अपने पूर्वांचल के, बिहार के भाई बहनों के ढेर सारे मैसेज आ रहे हैं। सिर्फ इसलिए नहीं कि मोदी प्रधानमंत्री है, ये इसलिए आ रहे हैं कि मोदी पूर्वांचल से सांसद बनकर के आया है। पूर्वांचल के लोगों ने मुझे सांसद बनाया, पूर्वांचल के लोगों ने मुझे प्रधानमंत्री बनाया है।
Now, underscoring the BJP's push to win over the middle class ahead of Delhi elections, the party's Rajya Sabha MP Sudhanshu Trivedi hailed the union budget, saying that it would put more money in the hands of the salaried section. Addressing a press conference in the national capital, Sudhanshu Trivedi further said that the union budget will benefit 85% of population in the national capital, with key announcements made for the middle class section in the country. Listen into what he had to say.
सबसे बड़ा जो कल के बजट का महत्वपूर्ण निर्णय रहा, पहली बार ऐसा हुआ है कि मध्य वर्ग को जो अनुमान था, अनुमान से अधिक सरकार ने छूट देने का कार्य किया है। 10 लाख तक की आय वालों को इनकम टैक्स, पर्सनल इनकम टैक्स से छूट मिलेगी, वो 12 लाख तक करने का निर्णय जो सरकार ने लिया है। मुझे लगता है यदि किसी एक राज्य को इसका सर्वाधिक लाभ होने जा रहा है तो वो दिल्ली है। ये मोदी जी की आर्थिक सोच के एक विस्तृत प्रारूप को, जिसको हम 10 साल से देख रहे हैं, उसका एक हिस्सा है।
Now, this is the news that we are tracking from JNK. It's Abdul Rafi Baba, a 36-year-old networking engineer from Kashmir's region who has gone missing from Saudi Arabia, where he has been imprisoned for last 4 years. His family has made an all-out appeal that their son have been arrested over false charges. Republic will now speak to the father of the Kashmiri youth who's been languishing in a jail in Saudi Arabia for the last 4 years. Let's go across to Manzoor Al-Haq, who's joining us on the broadcast. Mr. Manzoor Al-Haq, your son has been in the jail in custody in Saudi Arabia for the last 4 years. But explain to us first up about how many times have you reached out to the government to give you help in order to get your son back, and the kind of response if you have received from the government?
गवर्नमेंट की तरफ से कोई भी कुछ नहीं हुआ, न यहाँ की गवर्नमेंट की तरफ से न वहाँ की गवर्नमेंट से हमें कोई रिलीफ नहीं मिला हमें। मैंने तो यहाँ पे गवर्नमेंट को भी मेल किया था, मोदी जी को भी किया था, अमित शाह जी को भी किया था, ये जो हमारे ऑनरेबल एक्सटर्नल मिनिस्टर हैं उनको भी किया था। तो यहाँ स्टेट गवर्नमेंट के बाद मैंने ऑनरेबल चीफ मिनिस्टर को किया था। हमारे यहाँ पे MP हैं, हमारे यहाँ पे ऑनरेबल अगर रोहला जी, उनको भी मैंने मेल किया था, लेकिन कोई रेस्पॉन्स नहीं मिला। आज तक मुझे कोई रेस्पॉन्स नहीं मिला। और कल मैं मजबूर हो गया क्योंकि मेरे घर की हालत बहुत खराब है। तो उन बच्चों की हालत, वो अपने बाप को ढूंढ रहे हैं, उसकी बीवी की हालत बहुत खराब है। तो मैं तो अब बूढ़ा आदमी हूँ, तो मैं तो उनकी देखभाल तो कर रहा हूँ, लेकिन वो तो अपने बच्चे तो अपने बाप को ढूंढ रहे हैं, तो मैं उनको कोई जवाब नहीं दे पा रहा हूँ। इसलिए मैंने सोचा हो सकता है कि अगर मैं सोशल मीडिया के जरिए या मीडिया के जरिए कुछ ये हाईलाइट करूं, तो इसलिए मैं।
मंसूर जी, हमें एक बार और अगर आप हमें बता सकते हैं कि ऐसे क्या रिमार्क्स थे जो आपके बेटे ने, ऐसे क्या बात थी जो आपके बेटे ने बोली थी सऊदी फैमिली के अगेंस्ट, रॉयल फैमिली के अगेंस्ट, जिसके बेसिस पर उनको अरेस्ट किया गया, और उस लेटर के बारे में भी आप हमें बताइए जो आपने होम मिनिस्टर अमित शाह को लिखा है।
मैंने उनको लिखा था यही फॉर जस्टिस, मैंने उनको किया था कि आप इंटरवीन कीजिए, ये देखिए मामला क्या है। मैंने अमित शाह जी को भी लिखा था कि ऐसे मैंने उनको लिखा था अगर आप वो इंटरवीन करेंगे उसको आप वहां से डिपोर्ट करवाएंगे, और अगर गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया चाहे कि अपनी तरीके से इन्वेस्टिगेट करे कि अगर मामला होगा, अगर कोई उसके खिलाफ मामला बनता होगा तो गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया इज लिबर्टी टू पनिश हिम, अगर नहीं तो हमें तो जस्टिस मिले इसी तरीके से।
Alright, Mansoor ji, धन्यवाद हमसे बात करने के लिए. We only hope that the voice of the family reaches the government and there is a diplomatic action that's taken in this regard. We switch now to news that we are tracking from Uttar Pradesh. It's Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath who's claimed that abusing the Sanatan culture and even questioning the very existence of Lord Ram and Lord Krishna has become a fashion for the opposition leaders. Taking a jibe at the Samajwadi Party leader Akhilesh Yadav, calling him anti-Sanatan as well. Listen in to the sharp remarks of Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath.
ये समाजवादी पार्टी तो सनातन धर्म की विरोधी है। आप देख रहे होंगे समाजवादी पार्टी के अध्यक्ष के पिछले 2 महीनों के ट्वीट को आप देखिए, इन्होंने जितने भी इस दौरान वक्तव्य दिए हैं, इस सदी के सबसे बड़े आध्यात्मिक और सांस्कृतिक आयोजन महाकुंभ प्रयागराज का विरोध करते हुए इनके ट्वीट सारे के सारे आए हैं। दुनिया में आ रही है। अब तक 34 करोड़ श्रद्धालुओं ने प्रयागराज के मां गंगा, मां यमुना और मां सरस्वती की त्रिवेणी के संगम में आस्था की पवित्र डुबकी लगाई है। दुनिया विभूत है। तब उपराष्ट्रपति जी आए थे, दुनिया के 74 देशों के राजदूत आए थे, हाई कमिश्नर आए थे, पूरी दुनिया आ रही है, विभूत है। पूज्य संतजन आए हैं, सभी आचार्यगण आए हैं, देश और दुनिया के श्रद्धालु आए हैं, पर्यटक आए हैं, लेकिन पीड़ा समाजवादी पार्टी को हो रही है।
Now, in news that we are tracking from Maharashtra, a preliminary information that's been received that one civilian has been murdered by Maoists in Gadchiroli area of Maharashtra. And this a day after 8 Maoists were neutralized in Chhattisgarh district. Getting you the visuals of the unfortunate news that we are tracking, and those visuals, disturbing visuals of the Maoists action in Gadchiroli district of Maharashtra, where a civilian was killed by the left-wing extremists. This comes, note, a day after 8 Maoists were neutralized by the forces. It said that in Gadchiroli district, a man who was a civilian who was targeted by the left-wing extremists. An investigation has been ordered into the matter by the Gadchiroli police in Maharashtra. And we now move on to international news that we are tracking. President Donald Trump has now signed an order imposing tariffs on Mexico, Canada, and even China for that matter. 25% taxes that have been imposed by Donald Trump on goods from Mexico and Canada, and 10% tariff on China. In fact, in response, a retaliatory action by China that has said that winning can never be determined in a tariff war and has even threatened to reach out to the WTO after those tariffs have been imposed by the US president.
US President Donald Trump has imposed tariffs on Canada, Mexico, and China, spurring a trade war. Trump declared an economic emergency in order to place duties of 10% on all imports from China and 25% on imports from Mexico and Canada. But energy imported from Canada, including oil, natural gas, and electricity, would be taxed at a 10% rate. Trump said the tariffs were necessary to protect American interests.
But eventually we're going to put tariffs on chips. We're going to put tariffs on oil and gas. That'll happen fairly soon. I think around the 18th of February. And we're going to put a lot of tariffs on steel. We already have tariffs on steel, and we've saved our steel industry, but that was relatively small compared to what it'll be. But we're going to be putting tariffs on steel and aluminum and ultimately copper. Copper will take a little bit longer. And that'll happen pretty quickly. It'll mean it'll be a great boost for our steel industry. It'll make our steel industry very strong. So it's 25% on the Canada side.
In retaliation, Canada announced 25% tariffs on billions worth of American goods.
Today, the United States informed us they will be imposing 25% tariffs on Canadian exports to the United States and 10% on Canadian energy. This is a choice that, yes, will harm Canadians, but beyond that, it will have real consequences for you, the American people.
Mexico, too, issued retaliatory tariffs on the United States. Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum noted that problems are not resolved by imposing tariffs but by talking and holding a dialogue. Meanwhile, China has vowed retaliation after Trump opened a trade war. Chinese Commerce Ministry said the imposition of tariffs by the US seriously violates WTO rules. Tariffs are generally lower for nations that have trade agreements with the US, especially neighbors like Canada and Mexico. Goods are allowed to move among these three countries tariff-free due to the US-Mexico-Canada trade agreement.
Decode the Budget 2025 with Republic Business on the special broadcast Nation Wants to Grow, where you will have industry experts talk about tax reforms, healthcare, automobile and even manufacturing and much more. Tune in tomorrow at 11 a.m. only on Republic TV and Republic Business.